Hello and welcome back. Today is day 3 of my stories. I am Ariel Mel and I am the Artistic Director of Aim to Fly UK. Today I'm going to talk about how I adapted in the pandemic. When the pandemic first hit the UK in March 2020, I received a letter from my GP telling me that I needed to shield. This meant that I could not go out and perform, I could not teach, and I could not do my own grocery shopping. This was very frustrating for somebody who had fought for independence, particularly having a disability and knowing that my independence really was my lifeline to survival. Having lost my independence at the start of my disability, it really did spiral me into a life of depression and at times suicide. I really couldn't afford for this to happen again. I was forced to take a very quick, hard, sharp look at myself and think about who my communities are, what communities had supported me when I was struggling, and what I could do as a creator and be creative within the tools that I had. The first thing I did was reach out to my communities. In February of 2020, I had done my final gig of the year with Parapride. Parapride is an organisation, a charity, that works with disabled people who are on the LGBTQ+ spectrum. Having worked with them, it seemed really important that I continued my work and I continued to share the love, joy and art with this brand new community to which circus was not the norm. With Parapride, I did a series of talks. And within these talks I was introduced to a charity called Stonewall. Stonewall is a charity that looks at mental health and mental health in young people, particularly those on the spectrum of LGBTQ+. I found it really important to reach these people because where I was feeling sorry for myself being in isolation for just a few weeks at this point, some of these teenagers have been in isolation for weeks, months, some even years, based on their sexuality. And now they were being faced with another lockdown, another reason to not be integrating with society. This absolutely broke my heart. And I realised there was a way that I could help these communities. In the summer, we were very fortunate to have great weather. So with this weather, I decided to film a series of short art films on my rig and donate these performances to various organisations and charities, one being Parapride, another one being Silver Pride, which is aimed at older, mature adults with oppressions based on sexuality. And again, there's a lot of isolation and loneliness that comes with the older generation, mainly because at a time when they were first exploring their sexuality, it was illegal. And so again, I felt that I really, really had to help these people. What I didn't expect was this very, very generous donations to come in because I was raising awareness for their cause. I also performed on shows overseas, one being the Davy Swinton show, which is a coronation show, which is a cashback show. It was shared on platforms such as Twitch and YouTube. And at the bottom of the screen, it would have my PayPal address, and people could just make donations based on watching my performances. To this day, I'm still getting donations, so that was definitely a very, very good idea. Having worked with my local authority during my early days of disability whilst reshaping health and social care, I realised I had a lot of health and safety knowledge as this was my role within my local authority. I worked with companies such as Outdoor Arts UK and NASA UK and Nimble Arts and NECA in America to look at what we were doing to reduce the risks in our arts. My partner is also an engineer and they were also looking very closely at how to reduce contamination and anything that would increase the risks of people catching COVID-19. I took together all of this information and started to compile a document that could be used to keep other people safe I was very fortunate to be on the board of Circus Works UK, which is the youth network for circus works here in the UK, and I shared my documents and my knowledge very, very freely with the community. I didn't see it as a money-making opportunity. I saw it as a reducing risk opportunity, and knowing that the more we reduced our risks and the safer models we could create, the more likelihood we had of getting back to work, rather than sitting on our hands doing nothing and knowing that the government would do nothing to increase our chances of returning to work. This proved to be very, very useful. Whilst researching what could be done, what was out there and what wasn't out there, I discovered many, many things that I could do for my industry. One was creating my own sticky glue for when we are climbing aerials. Another one was the hand sanitizer, which I've been fortunate enough to be selling all over the world, and very, very useful because we do need it in our industry. We got masks. Some of them were masks that were purchased online, some of them were masks that my friends had made, and from learning from those examples, I started to make my own masks. And with the masks that I bought, I started to decorate them, embellish them, jazzle them up, just do things to make them more personal and more circusy, more arty, but give them a bit more character. Because everybody knows that being a performer is about being a little bit different, a little bit unique, but with a lot of character. So I utilised this very, very quickly, and I began to share it. I also realised that by being a creator, we had to continue to create and create within the bubbles that we were. I was very, very fortunate to be invited to work with a company called Safety Catch, developing new characters for lockdown, based around lockdown. And with this company, it was the first time I had to create a brand new character. This had challenges in itself, in the fact that I didn't have feedback. I didn't know whether I was funny or offensive. I didn't know whether I came across genuine on camera. But it was a great learning curve, and it was almost like going back to education. I created that character in a week, my Granny Crank, and she is absolutely having a wonderful time online. Say hi if you see her out there. Another character I developed for another one of my communities is Mel Vin Gay. Now Mel likes some Vin and obviously has a gay side. They very much enjoy their communities, they very much enjoy a certain musician of whom they would, whenever they hear that music, they would dance, sing, just do whatever happened, but it would take over their character. And just creating these characters created new, exciting ways to not be bored, to be creative, and to use within my arts. I'm also beginning to learn new skills. I've been learning pole, I've been learning hula hooping, which is not easy for somebody with my lack of certain abilities, particularly in the waist region. However, hooping has so much more to offer, like the isolations, the flaring, just so much more than spinning it around your waist. So that's been very exciting. I was fortunate enough to get funding, both emergency funding from the Arts Council, emergency funding from Equity, which really did help me stay afloat during the earlier months. Then again, funding to help me create a new product and a new show. This product is that of a film, because looking at the way things are in the world, film and changing to be digital seems more relevant than fighting to get back out and performing in front of audiences. And actually, if I'm honest, if I had the opportunity to perform in front of a live audience, I would be very, very nervous just because of my weak health conditions. So looking at digital, I saw as a real clear option to actually learn something new. Along with learning something new, it kind of made sense that I adapted, I grew, but I really owned the knowledge that I was learning. We had done so much work with cameras online, whether it be talks, classes, Zoom meetings, performances, just absolutely everything. And I thought, knowledge, I need to own my knowledge. I need to know what I'm doing and how I'm doing it. With the film I am creating, which is named Our Flight Through Lockdown, is about a series of solo artists who have all been affected by the pandemic. We are a very diverse group of artists with all very different types of main disciplines within circus and performance. Some main discipline is that of spoken word, some hula hooping, some fire, some aerials. Absolutely very, very different demographics that there are out there. But I noticed very quickly that we were all very much the same. We were all suffering the same, we were all feeling the same, yet we did not have the same reasons to be feeling the same. For some of us, we had to shield. For some of us, we'd lost our driving licenses based on disability and illness. For some of us, we just could not mix because of the fear of what had happened with colour, race and abuse surrounding Black Lives Matter, and that confidence just simply wasn't there. Yet throughout the pandemic, all of these people healed me in different ways, and all of these people connected with me in very different ways. Some of them I knew before, some of them I worked with on a regular basis before, and some of them I had never met before. But how I felt and how they made me feel was very real, and without them, I would not have healed to be at the point that I am today. So with that, we decided we were going to make a film based on our stories. And tomorrow I will share more about how you can support us on our film and exactly what our film is going to be hoping to achieve. Thank you for joining me.